Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for the new moon in Libra. I actually had the September new moon open. I can't believe it's October already. I'm like, oh wow, this chart looks really familiar. Yeah, because I read it last month. So this is a new moon in Libra. So it always makes you think of it's a new time for partnerships, it's a new time for cooperation, partnerships, all these sorts of things. But it's squaring off with Pluto here. So that could put a kibosh on the plans there. That could throw a wrench in the works. I'm trying to think of a positive thing. I mean, we could be joining together for change. And I think that is happening a lot. You know, that's definitely happening with the marches that are going on. People are marching and, you know, the movements that have been starting lately. So that could be maybe a positive way to express this energy. But, you know, it's really a lot of polarity. I mean, it's trying to be partnership, it's trying to join together, and Pluto's just like, no, death and destruction, you know. We're going to change, things are going to have to change. Pluto doesn't want to, you know, make a friend. Pluto wants to destroy, seek and destroy, and also rebirth. So there's tumultuous. I was going to say tumultuality. Is that even a word? I don't even know. But there's tumult. Tumult is in the air. Tumult or not tumult? That is the question. But back to here. I'm getting serious now. Ceres is in with this new moons, right in there. Get, you know, the 15, the 15, the 14. We got a lot of planets that, well, there's more than, but then there's the Palace at 17, 10 with the Venus, 14 over here, you know, the 18 with the Pluto. So there's some things in the teens, and if you have anything in the teens in your chart, you know, check where that's hitting you, because you'll be affected by this. But Ceres being in there, Ceres is abundance, it's the food, the grain. There could be stuff coming out about food. I mean, on a positive side, I just heard like co-op, so maybe we could have some new organic garden co-op kind of thing starting like Perlandia or what was that other one back in the day? There was a couple of them. It was the Feinhorn or Finhorn Garden. There was those two big ones where everybody works in a cooperative and we do organic gardening and it's all beautiful to grow healthy food. I mean, that kind of thing could happen, but also some stuff could certainly come out about food. And there, you know, there's stuff every day if you look. Actually, you know, every day there's some stuff coming out. It's, you know, I didn't want to scroll my feed. I just saw one yesterday. It was a juicy box thing, and they opened it up, and there was this gross thing inside. So, you know, it could be stuff like that too, or you know how they find dead mice and stuff inside of food. I'm almost gagging thinking about it. I hate seeing that kind of stuff, but that kind of stuff could come out. Or the underbelly. You know, the underbelly is Pluto. You know, the underbelly of something that we thought, like baby food, that we thought was so nice and wholesome and Susie Sunshine over here. Well, turns out maybe not. And it may be having to do with food and nurturing and things like that. I just got that. I think food poisoning could be, that's a weird thing to tune into, but you know, it's in that adjustment angle with Neptune. And that can, Neptune rules like poisons and gases and things like that. So somebody could get food poisoning. That's just some random thing that just popped in here. But for the most part, Libra is all about having relationships, cooperation, relationships. Some secrets could be divulged too with this Pluto and Neptune for sure. Like some sort of secret. And it might not be. I mean, it could be in big corporations. One second, I need to drink water. And our food source. Oh God, I don't even know if I want to say that. But okay, here's what I heard when I was getting my water there. I heard that there could be a contamination of epic proportions. So it might be the water supply. It could be also, I mean, I don't want to be on this, you know, doom and gloom and paranoia track, but that's what's kind of coming through. But what I was gonna say before I got the water is that this could be some stuff about relationships. People could be finding out some dirt, something that was hidden, and it could, you know, because Pluto rocks your world. Pluto rocks your world. You know, in Capricorn, it's more about corporate stuff usually, or, you know, things like that. But it could definitely be in your personal life. You know, so you could find out some news and find out some secrets are revealed. My secret to reveal. It's a lyric to some song. Maybe I'll look it up later. Let me write that down. My secrets to reveal. Or my secret is revealed. So that could happen too, absolutely. There's, you know, Venus is trining the Neptune though. That's something nice we can focus on and look at here. That's great for creativity, spirituality, self-expression, creating things of beauty, channeling, music, art, tuning into other dimensions in a real positive way. If you are looking for love, you could connect with somebody, Venus and Neptune. You could connect with somebody on the astral plane, even if you've not met them yet. I've had that happen many, many times. I'll start having dreams about somebody, or I'll start kind of seeing them in my visions, and you know, and then I'll meet them. You know, that's happened a bunch of times. So that kind of thing could start happening, because I feel like you do connect on an energetic level before you actually, you know, like here's us, and here's our aura, you know. So these auras, you know, before the actual physical being touches, oh my God, the auric field connects and touches. Oh wow, I can't believe I just did that. This is turning out to be quite the different kind of reading. You know, also though, Jupiter's still involved with this thing here. It's not really in orb with that, but it's still involved with Pluto. So I feel like the changes that are coming about, for the most part, are going to be for the best. Are going to be for Jupiter, for higher blessings and good and beneficial to all. And Jupiter, after all, is in its sign of Scorpio still. It's going to be moving out here pretty soon. So it's its last little blast in Scorpio. It's full on ahead. I'm going to pull out my ephemeris. If anybody always asks, every time I pull out the books, one of the books, I just call them my books, I inevitably get comments of, what is that book you pulled out? It's an ephemeris. This is a yearly one. They come in years and decades and centuries and everything. Yeah, November 8th, so we've got about another month, but it's just trucking on through, man. It's just going. And so it's going to be gearing up for these gifts that Jupiter's going to leave us. Jupiter's gift, you know, in Scorpio is transformation and change, I would say, you know. It's also going to be things in your personal chart, of course, but for the, you know, just for the general people at large here, yeah, it's some kind of transformation. It's some kind of change. It is some kind of truth. You know, that's, you know, this whole time, a lot of the time while this Jupiter is been in Scorpio, all this ugly underbelly stuff has really been coming out. You know, that people, you know, we thought that we were kind of past racism. We thought we were kind of past sexism. That all went down in the 60s, and now we're already in the new age. Well, guess what? Their underbelly, there's festering of all that and many other ugly kind of things that are still going on. And Jupiter has brought that out, and you know, Pluto and Capricorn has definitely brought that out as far as like our government and things like that. But there will be a blessing. It's not all about uncovering ugliness, especially with Jupiter. It's not about uncovering ugliness. It's about bestowing blessings. It's about becoming enlightened. It's about expanding knowledge and consciousness. So, well, you know, I'm drawn to say the old, God, I can't believe I was going to say Nora Ephron of all people. And she's a filmmaker. But I'm actually talking about Maya Angelou. When you know better, you do better. The fact that Nora Ephron's name just popped in here for some weird reason, I mean, I know she's a filmmaker, and I know she made like Sleepless in Seattle and, you know, Meg Ryan, a couple Meg Ryan films, but if that means anything, if there's some other... Sometimes, because when these weird things just pop in out of left field, sometimes they do have meaning. Anyways, back to this. Yeah, so, beautiful creations. Beautiful, sometimes, I mean, I don't necessarily subscribe to this, but like they say, especially the country music people, they say, you know, when you comes from the pain. You know, the songs that most people can really relate to, it's these songs when they've gotten their heart broken or whatever, you know, you found out they were cheating or this or that. I don't subscribe to that necessarily, you know, but that's definitely a thing. You know, through pain comes great art, many times. And through expressing, you know, diving in and looking at these painful experiences that we have, these underbelly, ugly experiences that we have in life, through creation, through self-expression of art or music or whatever it might be, or whatever, writing, that is a way to heal it, that is a way to transmute it. And that is, transmutation is the lesson of Pluto and Scorpio energy. And if you're not familiar, I'm tying them together because they are rulership of each other, okay? Alright, so, what else? Oh, Chiron went back into my favorite topic of Chiron. Back into Pisces. Talk about that, revisiting that stuff, you know. Chiron and Pisces is really about digging up all these painful memories, realizing how we've been wounded. You know, we can get stuck in the wallowing. It's not going to be in there for very long, I don't think. Does this have a Chiron on the front? It's in the back. If it's after the first of the year, I don't know. So I have to get my 29th. I can't believe it's going on 2019. Chiron. Yeah, well, it's going to go direct on December 3rd. So sometime right around the new year, it's going to pop back into Aries. But while it's back in, we've got a couple months here of Chiron going back into Pisces. And not only, I mean, it's going to stay at 29 pretty much, right? Well, I actually dips down into 24, but for the time being, it looks like it's going to be, oh no, here, yeah. It's going to stay at 29, I'll get down to like 28. So that's that critical degree, and the most critical degree. Critical degrees are the 29th degree of any sign, because that's like, it's do or die. Jupiter's going to be, you know, in early November, it'll be at the critical degree of 29 Scorpio. So it's always this do or die. Okay, have we learned the lessons of the sign we've just transited through? Have we learned, in this case, have we learned the lessons of Pisces? Have we wounded, healed our wounds of the Piscean nature? And I've said all along with the Chiron and Pisces, it was about our ancestors too. But most of our shit is our ancestors, right? You know, until recent times, you know, you just did how your mother and father did, you know. You try to do a little better, but these dysfunctional habits and patterns, they're passed down from generation to generation. And that's where this stuff comes into play in a big way and can be very helpful. Yeah, child abuse of all sorts, sexual or otherwise, you know, we've got to look at that. You know, that's something that's generationally handed down, and we got to look at it so we can heal it, so we can transmute it, and so we can heal it. It's not to look at it, I mean, for many, you know, like take the 1950s and Leave It to Beaver, and, you know, or even, you know, during those movies during the war, pre-television, you know, our cultural, you know, our mass cultural, whatever you want to call it, not social media. I guess that would have been the social media of the day, television and movies and stuff. But, you know, our mass consciousness, this is how we define ourselves, you know. It was all about, oh, everything's happy, and, you know, mom and dad are perfect, and, you know, okay, beef, this and that, you know, Wally and the beef, and all this stuff. Well, you know, I'll, you know, spill a little bit about my family. Both my parents came from highly abusive families, you know. That wasn't going on in their household. they were getting beat on a regular basis by alcoholic fathers, both of them, you know. So that was their normal, you know. And the beeve and all this happy days and whatever, you know, that wasn't. But, you know, some of the people from that generation are the ones that are strongestly, there's another, where's these words coming from? The holding on the strongest, you know. We want, make America great again. We want that era where everything was so apple pie and baseball and beautiful. Well, it certainly was not. They just didn't talk about it. And priests were raping kids and, you know, incest, and there was all sorts of crazy stuff going on. But it just wasn't talked about. What was projected out into, you know, the film and TV and all that stuff, you know, that was all bullshit, basically. And it also perpetuates this feeling of, well, if everybody's Wally and Beaver and Cleaver, then there must be something really wrong with me. There must be something really wrong with me that my family beats me, or, you know, berates me, or puts me down, verbally, abuse, whatever it might have been, you know. So knowing that everybody's not perfect, and we don't live in this, they're just showing me that other great movie that's a more recent film, where everything's in black and white, Pleasantville, yeah, and then they start, you know, all this stuff starts coming out, and you know, but so it, like, if we take that film as an analogy, yeah, some underbelly stuff gets exposed for sure in that film, you know, but it also, you get the full spectrum. You see the colors, you see the beauty of life. Life is a wide spectrum. It's a wide spectrum of people, beliefs, colors, everything. Wildlife, plants, animals, art to art, all sorts of self-expression, sexuality. Life is a wide spectrum. And trying to put these narrow, you know, well, everybody should be like the Beeve and the Cleaver, and everybody should be straight, and everybody should be this, and everybody should be that, you know, and women should be wives and mothers, and, you know, putting everything in these little boxes by these constraints, these Saturnian constraints, Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn, and where all this concentration of the Saturn-Pluto energy is, you know, you're missing out on the beauty of life. You're missing out, yeah, you'll feel the pain and the tears, but you'll also experience the great highs, you know, the beautiful colors and the full spectrum of self-expression and the full spectrum human being and life, right? So if you want to live narrow and play it safe and walk a narrow path, and this is, everything's Beaver to Beaver, and nothing rocks the boat, nothing upsets your apple cart, rock on with your bad self, that's cool. But this is showing us that there's so much more. And the Libra energy is also very much about art, expression, beautifying, making things beautiful, all the colors in the rainbows. Because I'm still seeing like stuff from that film, you know, how it was in black and white, then all of a sudden, like the guy, the painter at the, I haven't seen that movie in years, but you know, the painter at the diner, and he gets the art book, and it's just like, wow, it rocks his world. And, you know, they never go outside of their little street there, that little town. And when they're looking at the maps, it's like, well, where does the road go? And well, we don't know. It doesn't go anywhere. We just stay right here. And we stay right here in our beliefs and our everything, and nothing changes. Because this is about some change. Then, you know, it's always fear. It's always fear of the unknown. The devil we know, right? It's like, better the devil we know than the devil we don't know. So better to put up with abuse and repressed abuse and repressed sexuality and repressed ambitions of women and repression, Saturn, Saturn, Saturn. And it's negative. Saturn, there's always a negative and positive, but that's the negative side of Saturn and the patriarchy. Or, you know, open up. So Libra wants to see all the beautiful colors in the rainbow and the full palette. Libra wants the full, that's not just showing me now, like the palette, you know. And Libra wants to see that. Libra wants to express that. Libra wants that to shine. Yeah, but the Chiron, so we're going to be, I want to finish that up real quick. We are going to be revisiting some of these deep, dark wounds. And again, it does relate back to our childhood. It does relate back to generational things. It's just things that have been passed along, like I was just talking about. Even if it wasn't in your family, you know, it's society, you know, the norms of society that have been passed along. And in doing that, a lot of things get swept under the rug. A lot of things get denied. You know, well, you don't have it that bad. You know, well, I walk 10 miles a day to school, so just shut the hell up and get going. You know, that not hearing, not being heard, because Libra, you know, it rules the courts and law and stuff and the scales of justice. It wants this deliberation. It wants to hear all sides of the story. It wants to, you know, give somebody their day in court, or just for their voice to be heard. It doesn't have to be about the courts, you know, because many times when a lot of our wounds when we're growing up, you know, it was just because parent or authority figure or whoever, teacher, you know, just get back in line, shut the hell up and get back in line, you know, no whine, there's no crying in baseball. All these films are coming forward now. But, you know, it's just like that, like shut the hell up and get back in line and repress. So Libra's about express. So there's this going on. Okay, what else is going on? We've got this long-standing trine here with the Saturn and the Uranus too, which is so push me, pull you. It's such a opposite. The Saturn is all the things we were just talking about, the restrictions and blah, blah, blah. And then the Uranus is the breaking free. I talked about this at length with the Uranus Pluto square, what was going on with the Capricorn and Aries energy. Now Uranus and Taurus is a little different energy. It's going to have to do with money. It's going to have to do with what we value. I think that we're gearing up into this like a lot of the younger generation, like they don't have TVs and they're doing their tiny house thing. It's like, I don't want to be tied down to a 30-year mortgage and a man. I want to roam free on the land. I want to live close to the land, get back to the land and set my soul free. And, you know, that's a lot of the things. And, you know, I've always loved bartering. I'm always up for a good barter myself. But, you know, bartering and those types of things. While this Uranus is in Saturn, in Taurus, we are going to see transformation in the monetary system. I mean, that's pretty clear. How it's going to unfold, it's going to unfold in unusual and crazy ways, you know, with Uranus. Because it's unpredictable. It's something that has not been thought of before. It's not going to be the same old stuff again. Just, you know, okay, like, well, the banks, they crashed or whatever, and then they just all reformed again. No, that's not going to happen. Uranus would be something completely different, completely new, that's not been done. Maybe, here's what I'm feeling. It's not, they're telling me it's not that it's not been done before. It's not been done before in the modern era, or maybe even on this planet. But I am feeling like we're at whatever this next step is, it is a remnant of some sort of ancient civilization. Now, or, you know, maybe it's been done before, but not in anybody's, not in the history books or anything, okay? But it's in the collective unconscious, it's recalled. And with Uranus, often it could be Atlantis. If it's an Earth thing, it's often Atlantis. So maybe it was some kind of, if anybody knows anything about how, I wouldn't say monetary system, but how they did that on Atlantis, maybe you could share that in the comments. You know, I don't know, or maybe what Edgar Cayce may have said about it. I know he talked a lot about Atlantis. But it just seemed, I'm seeing that this has been done before, and I'm seeing it. And the reason I say Atlantis too is the people look a lot like the one vision that I had in the Blue Ridge Mountains years ago. I believe that the Blue Ridge Mountains were part of Atlantis, and that they got crammed into the main continent, and that's where that bulges, that whole Blue Ridge Mountains. And there's such a magical energy in that Blue Ridge Mountains. And I was going through Virginia, which is my favorite little stretch of the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's just something so magical. Well, anyways, long story short, I had this, and this was before, I mean, I was always been psychic since I was a kid, but this is before I was doing anything. I mean, really. I did tarot cards, like just more or less to tell fortunes, but I wasn't, you know, into expanding my soul or soul growth or anything. I knew nothing about it. It was just like, yeah, I can throw some tarot cards and do your reading. I wasn't using it for my own spiritual growth or anything. You know, it's just pretty much trying to live a regular life, you know, be normal. But anyway, so I'm driving through the Blue Ridge Mountains, and I see this woman. It's me. I know it's me. I'm the little girl. And there's this beautiful woman, and we're standing on top of one of these mountains, and she has this crown of like crystals, and she takes it off of her head and puts it onto my head. And it was some kind of initiation. My grandmother had just died, and I thought, because she was real spiritual, she taught me how to read tarot cards and whatnot, but I thought, well, maybe it was my grandmother, you know, so that's what I equated it to at that time, but it was definitely some kind of big spiritual initiation that happened. How did I get off on that Blue Ridge Mountains thing? Oh, but when I was seeing that vision just now, when they were showing me the monetary system or exchange rate or whatever you want to call it, that will come into play, they showed me that, and it reminded me of those two girls, the way they were dressed, kind of long gowns. But the long gowns, don't let that fool you. They're not peasants, or it would be closer to Rome or Greece than it would be to like peasant dresses. But they're not primitive. Just because the way they dress is, they are very advanced, you know. And there's a lot of telepathy and stuff going on. But I totally got way off track. But Uranus will do that, right? But there will be, you know, some kind of new money coming out of this. I'm getting a lot of visions about that place again. I'm going to stick to the chart because we could go on forever about that. Maybe I can pick that up later for my own self. Let's see here. Venus is squaring Mars at that time. Yeah, that brings back the thing about the tumultuous relationship. Tumultuality, is that the word I said before? Tumultuality, where is that coming from? That's such a weird thing to say. But anyways, I'm going to write that down too. I'm going to just look it up later. Tumultuality. But the Venus square the Mars, I didn't even catch that, in the fixed sign. So relationships could be going through some strain at this time. Your one-on-one personal relationships. Venus square Mars always does bring that kind of thing about, and especially in the fixed signs, you know. Mars is in Aquarius in the fixed sign, and then we've got Venus in Scorpio in a fixed sign. So that would say both are fixed in their opinion and belief, that neither wants to give in or, you know, budge. You know, so be aware of that. I mean, if you're aware of it, you can kind of transcend it. You can kind of sidestep it. You don't have to, just because this isn't a prediction. This is a energy read. So this is what the energy is going to be like. You don't have to go, you know, somebody's trying to pick a fight with you. You don't have to participate necessarily, you know. The other thing about this Mars, and I talked at length about this in those solstice readings that I did, the personal readings that I was offering, we've got the Mars, Lilith, and the South Node all here. So this is a time. South Node is not only past lives, but it is the past. And you're in Aquarius. So there's, again, these, you know, past lives in other planets or advanced civilizations, etc., etc. But Mars and Lilith are so powerful. And they're joined together here. You know, and it's the powerful woman and the powerful man. That's the defender, the fighter, the one who's going to stand their ground. And it is a time to be your own champion over past events in your life, in this life and others. It's to be a champion for whoever, you know. Nobody's going to push Lilith or Mars around. Nobody's going to put their hand over Lilith's mouth, man. She'll be biting that, you know. I shouldn't have jumped on that because I don't want to start a big political thing, but that just flew into my mind there. You know, they will fight. They will stand up. They will be the champion. They will be the champions. They will be their defenders. And it's for all the sins of the past. That's what I'm hearing. From everyone and everything and society and beyond. So this is a time, what is that? That poem, for all good, a time for all good men to blah, blah, blah. What is that? That's some poem or something, or a famous speech. I'm going to have to look a few of these up. For all good men to rise to the occasion, or something like that. This is a time. This isn't necessarily about that new moon, but this little cluster here has been going on here for a while. And these two are traveling together here. So they're not going to be touching that south node for much longer. As a matter of fact, they're already kind of out of orb of that. You know, they're getting into the 6 degrees. That's getting a little far away. But they're still moving together. So they'll keep like fighting the good fight. You know, with that south node and all that stuff, a lot of past life people have been showing up in everybody's lives around that ingress. Because that ingress was kicking this off big time. There was a big T-square going on with, I forget, Venus and Uranus and the nodes. So it was this big deal. Okay, I'm going to come back to the chart, but let's look up a few of these things. Okay, that's my website, of course. If you want to find out everything, you can get the t-shirts. They're really cool. They're astrology t-shirts. And then I have the astral art. It's custom art. This is the more involved celestial art with your chart. This is your symbols with your glyphs. And then there's always the tapestry of life mandalas. You can find all that stuff and readings and more on my chart. But what is that? Now is the time for all good man. Is that how it goes? Is the time for all good mean. Okay, here it is. To come to the aid of the party. What is this? Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of the party is a phrase first proposed in a typing drill. Oh my God, that's where I heard it before. Oh, yeah. But what is it though? But that's where I heard it before. I'm sure if any of you remember, probably most of you are of the age, before when we took typing lessons in school, you learned your hand positions and you had to, everything should be one click away. How funny. But what is it really? What is it? Oh, here it is. Where did it originate? Straight dope. Okay, yeah, where did it originate? From typewriter became an opposed typing teacher. Yeah, but I think it's part of some kind of speech or something too. It might be. Well, if anybody knows, go ahead and please put that in there. And lyrics. Oh, I already know what that is. My secret's to reveal, because you are a magnet and I am steel. That's what that was. That other lyric was. Well, you are a magnet and I am steel. That's kind of what I was talking about with the auric fields. The auric fields are attract and repel. And if you don't want to believe in all this woo-woo crap, just, you have some people you just really like. You get together, oh, cool, and they're your fast friends. And other people, they just kind of rub you the wrong way, and they just, you just don't like them. Oh, tumultuality. That was the last thing I wanted. I just want to see really quick, because that came through a few, tumultuality. Is that a word? Doesn't seem to be. Okay, well, I don't know why that word came through like 2 or 3 times in this reading. Okay, so partnerships are really emphasized. There could be some tumultuality. I'm going to start making it a word if there's not. Tumultuous vibrations happening. Secrets could be revealed, for sure. Friction. There's some friction. And it's most likely going to manifest through our relationships. But also we could join together to, go for the cause, to be our own champions, to stand up for the underdogs, to, you know, make a stand for not only now, but echoing out through the ages. Okay, that's a good place to leave it. Alright, so hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning in. I don't have any special readings at the moment, but I do have all that stuff that I just showed you, the t-shirts and the regular readings and the cool astral art. So if you're interested in any of that, by purchasing my wares, I have books, decks, and other things available. You can find that all on my website. And by purchasing my wares, that keeps the free readings free every month. I also appreciate all of you who have joined Patreon and supporting me on Patreon. I will be releasing all the new readings, the card readings, early for my Patreons with an additional bonus card only for patrons. You pay one flat rate to see all the videos. And I also think that I will be maybe doing some different chart reads. I'm thinking about doing an ingress. I don't think I'm going to offer the winter solstice ingress reading because I always get real busy with my year ahead readings at that time of year. So I may just put it up as a, you know, a chart read for the general public and put it on my Patreon page. I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but that's a possibility. But you can check that out if you're interested in any of those things. Remember that you are love and beauty incarnate. Have a great month of October and the great new moon in Libra, and I'll speak to you soon.